Welcome to the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast, where feelings aren't felt and snowflakes melt. Buckle up, it's gonna be a bumpy ride.
These confines with a monarch's voice cry havoc! Let slip the dogs of war. To my city steps. You insult my queen. You threaten my people with slavery and death. Oh, I've chosen my words carefully, Persian. Perhaps you should have done the same. This is blasphemy. This is madness. Madness. This is Sparta!
They painted
the great.
What was that?
What do you mean? What was that? That was the Pixies. Do you? That was the outro to the Fight Club movie when all the buildings were toppling.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
very.
didn't remember that.
You remember it's a late '80s song too. So I thought maybe you would know it.
I don't know who the Pixies are, and I don't remember the song from
Yeah,
Fight Club.
it's a good song.
But
so
in fairness, I've only seen Fight Club once.
Oh God, I love that movie. I've probably seen it 20 times. And the book is even better. Where is my mind? That's a song that you're gonna that fits like some of these videos I'm gonna play. Believe it.
Okay.
Believe it.
Your mind is probably in a weird place, but okay, I'm sure.
No, I'm not talking about my mind. I'm talking about the lefties.
Oh,
that was dedicated to the lefties because there's so much stupid shit. I can't even put a finger on it. Real quick, we were talking off camera about your beloved Carolina hockey team,
Hurricanes.
The Hurricanes, and it's tied 2-2, and you were talking about that goal. What was the? I'm sorry, with the player that
Jordan
slapped
Stahl.
the prone.
It's funny. Eric Stahl was the captain 20 years ago when we won the Stanley Cup. Now his brother Jordan Stahl, who's been in the league since 2009, is now our captain.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to watch tomorrow's game, and you said, well, maybe you shouldn't because you haven't watched it, and we won. Well, you lost 2. I didn't watch those either, but I am going to watch tomorrow. Here's what happened to me. The Mariners just looked like shit in the first month and a half of the season. They just weren't playing, and they're one of the favorites to go to the World Series this year. And so I canceled my subscription to I can't remember what it was, Tubi or one of the other ones that played every Mariners game. And as soon as I did that, they went on a 9-game winning streak.
Of course.
Of course. Yeah, now they're in first place in the AL West by 3 games after I canceled my subscription. And
nice.
And they've had 5 walk-off victories. That's when
eventually that'll come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah, it will. But yeah, 5 walk-off victories, which is that's like you don't get that in a season usually, and they've had that in the first third of the season, so that will bite you in the ass. Anyway, let's get going. We're going to do something a little bit different. This is the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast. That is my podcast partner in the wilds of Tennessee, Russ. I'm Big Koop. I'm Big Koop in the Great Pacific Northwest, in the communist stronghold of Washington State, with our king Bob Ferguson reigning supreme in Olympia. We're going to do something a little different today. We're going to do a round robin of videos, and then we're just going to quickly discuss each video. Russ has a hard time, kind of. He's got something very pleasant waiting for him at the end of the podcast. So I worked hard to get all these videos together and cut and produce. So hopefully this will work really well. Let's hit our first video, if you don't mind, Russ.
This is that equal partnership. Coop does most of the work, and I show up and talk.
That's right. That's right. That's how we do it. Yeah, and then you get a 50% cut of the profits too, or whatever.
And as soon as there are some, I will revel in them.
Well, we are selling some shirts. Let me let you know, both on both on our eBay store and our store. So this first one, Russ, it's kind of a longer video, but it's in pieces, and I wanted to. This is called, that I think that we've got a pretty deep bench going on right now. In the Republican Party with younger guys and even some of the older guys like Kennedy and stuff like that. So I just wanted to show people some of the Republican talent. I did not know who Max Miller was until I heard what he said in this exchange with Rashida Tlaib.
Where this is going.
Yep. Here, let me play this.
4 minutes, please. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman is recognized for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise in opposition to HCON Res 84, but like most of my colleagues, whether they'll admit it or not, I am a little confused. The United States to my knowledge, doesn't have any troops in Lebanon. In fact, the last time American service members were deployed in Lebanon was in 1984. Even though the gentlelady from Michigan believes that the U.S. is the root of all evil, the United States is playing a vital role in advancing peace, security, and stability in Lebanon as we currently speak. Just a couple of days ago, President Trump brokered a pause to further defensive Israeli military action in southern Lebanon, and the U.S. State Department has hosted several rounds of historic peace talks, as we've currently been seeing. Regardless of what the gentlelady from Michigan will tell you, the greatest threat to Lebanon remains the Iranian regime and its terrorist proxy, Hezbollah, not the United States, and not Israel, as that country has come out more of the gentlelady's mouth than the United States, and I believe that's who she's seeking to remove from Lebanon. But if my colleagues on the other side actually cared about the people of Lebanon, which it's clear they don't, they would cheer on the elimination of these bloodthirsty terrorists, not advancing meaningless resolutions to denigrate American foreign policy only to embolden them. For decades, Iran has used Hezbollah to project power throughout the Middle East. In the process, Hezbollah has weakened the Lebanese state and repeatedly drawn Lebanon into conflicts that serve Tehran's interest. While I can appreciate the passion from my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, I do not appreciate their lack of education and understanding of what is really going on there. So let us be clear. Hezbollah is a terrorist organization from the gentlelady from Michigan, and its members are butchers that you like to, hang out with to a certain extent. No nation can be fully sovereign when an armed group operates outside the authority of its elected. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we getting a little emotional?
Gentlemen will suspend.
Oh, gentlemen will suspend.
Her reaction is amazing.
I certainly believe you advocate for them, yes. You advocate for terrorists on a daily basis.
The House will be in order.
You advocate for a terrorist regime every single day, from the gentlelady from Michigan.
The House will be in order. The House will be in order.
You do associate yourself with them.
Colleagues.
This is more like
a
British
serious
Parliament.
topic. We will debate it respectfully and deliberately. Is the gentlewoman from Michigan making a motion to take down?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I am. That is a direct attack on my character.
She's so hot.
I please
Gentleman from
request
Ohio will
to
be
strike
seated.
He has
the
no
words
character.
down.
Gentleman from Ohio will be seated.
Mr. Smith, in January.
Yeah, so Max Miller. I had no idea who he was until I saw this video on my usual, watching the YouTube and scrolling to Forbes and all that kind of stuff. So, boy, did he create a viral moment with how ballsy he was in that exchange.
Oh, it got better, right?
Yes, I had to trim it because we only have so much time.
Well, so he got removed from the floor,
right?
And then I believe it was Chip Roy, but I'm not positive. Came down and said about the exact same thing and said, "Okay, I dare you to remove me from the floor."
Yeah, I saw that. I probably should have played that. This is something regularly I'm going to do. There's so many videos out there that illustrate the difference between the Dems and the Republicans, and completely biased. I'm cherry picking the good moments for the Republicans.
Oh, absolutely. And Rashida Tlaib is a terrorist supporter. She absolutely is. Mm-hmm. She supports Hamas. The map on the wall in her office has a sticky note that says Palestine over where Israel is. She is a terrorist supporter who wants to drive the Jews into the sea. She can go get fucked.
Is she the one that had the Palestinian flag outside the office and she had to remove it, or was that?
I don't know that. I don't remember that.
That was not too long after the Hezbollah attack on Israel, and she actually had the balls to replace her American flag. I think it was her. I'm not saying that for sure.
It might be, but I don't know.
I don't want to be a meme and mislead our listeners, but I'll look it up after the fact and then hit us on the Facebook one way or the other if I'm wrong or right. Somebody did that. One of the congressional fucks did that and put the congressional fucks put the flag outside, the Palestinian flag. Just disgusting. This is an older one. But I like this one. This is the exchange between Jack Smith, who just looks like, for those of you that don't know, Jack Smith was one of the guys that went after President Trump in the whole fucking. Anyway,
just real quick on Jack Smith.
Yeah.
He's also a complete political hack. He made his bones going after Bob McDonnell, governor of Virginia, and basically made enough hay to get him removed from office. However, it later came that the conviction he had was overturned because it showed out he was doing unethical stuff with that investigation.
Yes, yeah, and he's one of the legal gate guys, and he has gotten pounded over what happened with his essentially illegal prosecution of Trump and some of the stuff that they tried to nail Trump with. Anyway, this is a great exchange with Mike Current. Ties for the top 3 favorite politicians in the Republican Party.
2023, did you subpoena then Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy's toll records?
Yes, sir, we did.
Yes, you did. And the subpoena covered the time period between November 2020 and January 2021. Is that right?
I'm sorry, sir. Could you say that again?
We're not going to delay like this. The subpoena covered the time period between November of 2020 and January 2021. How many days after Kevin McCarthy was sworn in as Speaker did you subpoena his records?
I don't recall, but those two things had nothing to do with one.
It was 16 days after becoming the highest ranking Republican in the House of Representatives. You subpoenaed his toll records. Do you agree that that might reasonably be considered a violation of the speech or debate clause?
I do not, and I want to be clear that the toll records...
You were collecting months' worth of phone data on the Republican Speaker of the House, the leader of the opposition, right after he got sworn in as Speaker, all around the time of a major vote. That sounds like a flagrant violation of the speech or debate clause to me, and I think most people agree with me. And Speaker McCarthy had no recourse, did he? Because you issued a non-disclosure order ensuring that neither he nor any of the American people knew about these subpoenas. Is that right?
The non-content toll record subpoenas, we did secure non-disclosure orders for those subpoenas.
You did. And let me ask you, Mr. Smith, at the time you secured those non-disclosure orders, was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
The non-disclosure order was based on concerns about...
Was Speaker McCarthy a flight risk?
He was not.
He was not. Then why did your non-disclosure order refer to him as a flight risk? It says right here, the court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in flight from prosecution.
Sir, when securing a non-disclosure order, the risks don't have to be associated...
You think that the Speaker of the House is a flight risk?
The question?
No, this is not your time. This is my time. You think
Secretary Mullen, I'm very...
Yeah,
Brandon Gill.
Brandon Gill, Texas. He's in my top 3 favorite politicians right now. He is as good as I think Ted Cruz is during these hearings. I think he's just a cinch better than Ted Cruz.
I agree, because Ted Cruz is a little bit of a showman.
Yeah, he is.
Brandon
He's
Gill
performative.
just hits you over the head with your own stuff. I've really liked Brandon Gill. Now, I don't know that he has a national political future given his polarizing nature, but he may have a future as a senator at some point. And he's also married to Dinesh D'Souza's daughter.
Yeah, she's pretty active. I noticed down on X and putting things out on Facebook too. She's very politically opined, and you can imagine. One thing that I think is hilarious is Brandon Gill. I follow him on Facebook. I don't know if you do. And when he puts stuff out on Facebook, and he'll talk about, I mean, he is completely anti-immigration and he's anti-Muslim. He thinks that they all should get deported. I mean, he really does believe that. He's pretty hardline on these things. And every time he puts something out, it's like, he talks about the American culture and how, the American culture it doesn't align with Islamic values and stuff like that. And he'll put there'll be a photo on there or a cartoon or whatever. And it's always like 1950s white people in the backyard barbecuing or something like that. Or dad is kneeling next to his white daughter looking up into the sky and she's really smiling. It's fucking hilarious.
He's trolling people. Okay.
Oh yeah. I think he loves it because of course there's people that love it, but I'd say well over half the people are like, you racist, you Nazi, that whole stupid thing. Oh, and yeah. we'll talk about racists and Nazis here a little later in the podcast.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. This is also a very famous exchange between...
concerned that your department is promoting white nationalist, anti-immigrant sentiments on official social media accounts. One post quotes a song embraced by neo-Nazis and state law enforcement agencies have raised concerns that your post will motivate white supremacist violence. When will you stop DHS from using its social media accounts to spread bigoted and racist words and imagery promoting great replacement theory?
It's interesting how you make those claims and give no facts, but yet your party's the one that's supporting the guy that's got a Nazi tattoo.
I have the facts. I have the facts, sir.
No, there is no facts. You throw out nationalism, Nazism, and that's exactly what causes the hatred and the violence that happens to our officers every single day. And you should be ashamed of using that.
You're absolutely wrong about the way the money flows.
That was Secretary Wayne Mullen. I love that guy. I loved his exchange with the Teamster union boss where he challenged him to a fight on the Senate floor. I played that video a few months back. And this is a guy who was a plumbing contractor and then built his business into a multi-million-dollar contracting business.
But he was just a plumber. He was just a plumber.
Just a plumber, yeah. And I love that he called the guy out because the I can't remember the name of the union boss, but he had sent out tweets or something that was really saying stuff like that and talking about how stupid he was and that he was a coward and he was a weakling. And I'm like, you can look at the guy and tell the guy can throw hands.
Oh yeah.
What's the name of the dumbass? I can't remember the name of the dumbass that he just destroyed.
Sri Thanadar, who is one of the dumbest members of Congress. I think the dude's 80 years old. He's got that really weird hairpiece going on.
Looks like a wombat fucking his head.
If you've ever seen him talk, he is an absolute idiot. He is, as I've often said, the best arguments against democracy are the morons that people send to Congress, and he's one of them.
Yeah, and there was the famous, he tried to impeach Trump twice.
Yeah. He gets smacked down by his own party.
Smacked down by his own party. His own party doesn't even like him. And this is the party of, we'll get into it. All right. The Honorable Marco Rubio.
Man, I'd love to see his president.
Me too. I think he's number one on my list right now. Yeah, I would be happy. I love our vice president, but there's just something about Marco Rubio, man.
I'd love for Trump to pull JD aside and say, "Hey, dude, you need to go do something else right now so we can push Marco." And then JD says something along the lines of, "Hey, I've got a young family. We're pregnant again. I want to spend time with my kids while they're young, and I can come back later."
Yeah, we'll see. I love Vance. I don't have any complaint against Vance, but Marco Rubio is just intellectually just
on another level.
He's on another level completely. The way he can perform, just his sense of humor, everything. So let's listen to this short exchange. It's not real short, but I'm going to play this out. It's a couple minutes between Canlager Dove. This is another really stupid human being. I don't know. I don't see anybody on the Democratic side has any intellectual heft anymore. You used to see a few, but they're not there.
Used to. I'd have to really think about it. I'm sure there's probably a couple of folks there, but
I thought Harry Reid was a smart guy. I thought Harry Reid was a smart guy.
I thought Harry Reid was a jackass.
He was a jackass. He was a jackass, but I thought he was a smart guy.
Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Would have been up there. As much as I disagreed with him, Paul Wellstone in the Senate, at least he had courage of his convictions.
Not that familiar with Wellstone.
Wellstone died in a plane crash in 2002 before the election.
That's right. Okay, I remember that.
There are a few people, but I'd have to really think about it with the current crop.
Gotcha. Let's play this out here.
It's pretty straightforward, and I'll share.
So I'm going to have to reclaim my time again because
what kind of process is this? They get to ask questions and you don't get to answer?
It's my time. The question about corruption is really important.
So why am I here if I don't get to answer your questions or your defamatory statements?
I'm reclaiming my time, Mr.
I want to reclaim. Well, do I get time? Because you make these defamatory statements and no one can talk here.
If you can't call out corruption in this country, then how can you call it out in another
Well, I can't say anything because you won't let me speak.
Question. It is about credibility and your credibility meter is on empty right now. Oil.
These guys just get to talk and I don't get to answer?
Who determines the barrels of oil that get sold? How many of them?
But you won't let me answer your question. I have an answer for your question.
Where is it going?
I get it.
They
have to use their time for me to answer your question.
The onus is on you to prove that there is no corruption happening.
Well, how do
That
I
is
prove it if
your
you don't let me talk?
responsibility as the Secretary of State. And you know what? Normally we would have access to that data. That's the
You do.
transparency.
You just don't know where to
But you're
look.
not showing us any receipt. Well, then show us.
But
Do
you
you
won't.
commit? Do you commit to coming back here with whoever the person is who is monitoring the
His
sales
face
of
is
the
priceless.
oil? Bring them before this committee.
Can I
Show the
reclaim my
receipts.
time?
Have the documentation. You don't have this time yet. I am talking about your credibility and evidence, not your talking points, because talking points are never a replacement for transparency
I agree,
and
but that's what you're
documentation.
saying. You're saying talking
And
points
we
without
have
an
not-
answer.
We are 5 months into this and no audits. Zero visibility into the
100%
contracts that are
false.
awarded.
100%
Zero
false.
Unfortunately,
transparency about where the
Representative
money
time has
is
expired.
going.
Representative Salazar is recognized.
Yes. And giving contracts with no transparency
Can I
is
borrow your
exactly the
time to
reason
answer?
why you shut down USAID. So practice what you preach. I yield my
Oh,
time.
she gets to scream now too?
Chairman,
Scream and
can we
shout.
take down her words?
I'll give you some time. I'll give
Yeah.
you some of my time. Then you just
Okay.
just
But God,
change
what
the
kind of thing
energy.
is this? What is this? You get asked questions for 5 minutes and you don't get time to answer. It's not a hearing.
I think you said clown
Like
show
a dunk
before.
tank.
I
What
don't,
is
I don't
this?
have to tell you.
Dunk tank.
I don't. I'll
I've
give
even
you
used
ti-
their time. How can I answer the question? They don't even give me time. I've had to use their time to answer your questions.
Yes.
All right, whatever.
All right, so I don't need to tell you that in my community, the city that I represent, the city of Miami, you're one of the most illustrious representatives, and that we're very proud of you, not only the Cuban Americans, but the Hispanic Americans in my
Why is she
community.
leaving? I'm
So
going to answer her questions.
I will.
Oh, she's go. Okay, I got it. Well, thank you for coming.
I love him. And I got to tell you, Salazar's a babe.
Yeah, but the other representative just keeping on going on and then getting up and storming off in a tantrum.
Yeah.
Not letting anybody answer. She just wanted to get up there and make a speech. I don't know if you know this. Back in the 1860s, the Confederate Congress often met in what's called in camera, which meant in secret. That practice has been frowned upon over the last 100 to 150 years in the U.S. Congress,
Right.
for reasons of transparency. However, since the advent of the age of television, most folks that are doing these hearings and these things in Congress seem to be doing so mostly posturing for the cameras. So it makes me wonder, do we need to bring back in-camera sessions in order to maybe actually get real debate as opposed to, preening and getting up there hoping that the TV camera will look good for you so you can get a 30-second clip on TikTok and try and raise some money.
Exactly.
That's all that woman was doing.
That's all that woman was doing, and they'll cut it up so it doesn't sound like Rubio responded to any of it. And
I know.
Yeah,
And kind of like the way Katie Couric cut up the question to gun owners.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. Let's get into video number 2, which is the exact polar opposite of video number 1. Here we go. We're on the dialectic, bitches. Here we go.
We're working with the police department to make sure that officers are following the rules that we
Sorry, Katie Wilson, mayor of Seattle.
have sent down. And if they don't, then that's a problem.
Do you support firing cops who don't follow that executive order?
You mean firing cops who do what?
Who don't follow the law?
Yeah. Sure, yeah.
That are cooperating with ICE.
I heard you like to sing. Is that true, Congresswoman?
Yes, I like to sing Mexican songs, senor. Would you like to hear my favorite song?
Absolutely.
Okay, here goes, senor. Burrito, taco, taco, burrito, taco, taco, taco. Don't think just because I got a lot of money, I'll give you taco flavored kisses. Fulfill all your wishes with my taco flavored kisses. Taco, taco, burrito, burrito.
Bad lip reading.
I haven't used that one for a while. I wanted to stick it on one of the videos. Obviously that was AOC, but it was bad lip reading. Just
And
really funny.
Is her name Katie Wilson?
Katie Wilson, yeah.
Yeah, the woman who thinks she can run a city. She never had a job until she was elected mayor. She was with a couple of nonprofits. She lived in her parents' house. She's a silver spoon. It's amazing that all these communists and socialists are, trust fund kids.
Yeah, and though, like Mom Donnie, and it's just this is where my cognitive dissonance kicks in all the time. I cannot fathom electing her. I can't fathom that anybody voted for her. I realize that Seattle has a supermajority on the Seattle City Council and all that. The people that are conservative live in one little small area in Seattle where I lived on my last tour when I was stationed up there. But it's just insane that what would possess somebody to vote for somebody like that? But
envy.
We have an even worse example of what would possess somebody to vote like that here in the video extravaganza that we're doing today. So let's get on. Katie Wilson she's not to say she's an empty suit would like there's like empty suits calling me on the phone and telling me, what do you have a problem with us for, dude?
Yeah.
I mean,
Katie Wilson, people vote for her because of envy and stupidity. They're simple-minded. They think these simple-minded solutions will work. And Coop, I know this may piss you off when I say this, but under her leadership, Seattle is going to get exactly what it deserves.
It will. Her big thing now is they and this was obviously in process long before she was mayor, but they next to right up against the nicest neighborhood in Seattle where I was privileged to live, which is called Magnolia, on a hill overlooking Elliott Bay and the city on one side. And you probably can't touch a house for under 3-4 million in that neighborhood. I, of course, rented a house for about a year and a half, and I was paying, this is back in 2010 through 2013. And I was paying like $2,000 a month back then to rent.
Wow.
And it wasn't a nice house. It was like in the least nice place in all of Magnolia. I mean, it was fine. It was great, but nice backyard, 2-story house, but it was $2,000 back then. I can't even imagine.
It's got to be $4,500 or more.
I could afford it because I was on TCS orders. So I got that big fat per diem, which paid for it. Plus I had still had my BAH. So I was taking home a lot of money as a field grade officer. So I could afford it. But yeah, and it was crazy. It was crazy. And I looked at the assessed value. I remember when I moved into it, they were just about to get foreclosed on, and they were just like, oh my God, we found somebody that can afford it. They just love me and my landlords. And I took really good care of the property. But I remember looking at the value of it back then, and it was like valued at about $500,000. Really small lot, all that. I looked at it about a year ago, and it's up to $3 million.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's not a $3 million house. I can imagine what the mansions up the hill that had the view that were like, 4,000 or 5,000 square feet are going for, 20, 25 million in that neighborhood in Seattle. Anyway, and so they put in tiny homes, these and they containers.
And they're also drug infested and not doing any enforcement on them.
Nope. It's going to be Seattle's big trap house, like not mini homes, but mini trap houses. It's fucking disgusting.
Skid Row.
They're gonna wreck it, and it's gonna, I'm sure the Magnolia residents are just really happy about their property. It's in between Ballard and Magnolia, which are two of the coolest neighborhoods in Seattle. So
I hope I'm not going to undercut you when I say this or when I ask about this. Have you seen the story on the neighborhood residents that have put up their own barriers?
Yes, that was not too far from that area there.
I was going to ask how close to Magnolia that was.
I shouldn't say it's not too far. It's in a completely kind of different spot, Aurora. And Aurora Avenue is one of the nastiest places in Seattle. That's where back in the day you'd go to get your drugs and your hookers and prostitutes up and down.
But they're putting up barriers to keep bad people out.
Yeah, if you get a little bit off Aurora, and that's where this place was, and it's gentrified quite a bit. Like back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, you didn't even want to drive Aurora Avenue. But it's cleaned up, and they're trying to put barricades to keep the homeless and the drug dealers out from camping, and people's, they literally were having homeless camps in medians where the medians where they put beauty bark and some rhododendron bushes in between the houses. Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, it's the homeless thing. Anyway, let's see. You want to go on to the next video since we have quite a few to get through here. Let's see. What did I put next? Oh, so speaking of what I was talking about earlier about having absolutely no morality about who you vote for anymore, check this out.
Please welcome to the stage Maine's Democratic nominee for United States Senate, Graham Plattner.
With the young until the
Nazi scab, or will you be a man?
Oh boy. Oh. Well, thank you, Maine.
Yes, thank you, Maine.
I was going to let him say a few things, but I'm just so disgusted right now. I just want to cut that off. Go ahead, because I'm so sick.
I don't want to hear
angry right now. I'll just.
I don't want to hear jack shit from another Democrat about morality and who Nazis are when they nominated an actual Nazi who has abused women and had a profile on a predator app, and who, oh, by the way, was not this organic oyster farmer that everybody thinks he was. He was selected by the Democratic Socialists of America. He went to a private school growing up. His daddy was an assistant DA in Maine. His mom owns a restaurant. By the way, that restaurant is about the only business that buys the oysters that Graham shucks. He is an absolutely loathsome person, and I think he's going to get I think he's going to get beat badly by Susan Collins. I know what the polls say now, but I also know those polls are usually off, especially in Maine. I mean, all the polls had Susan Collins' opponent, who I can't even remember her name, beating her by 3 or 4 points.
I saw that.
And not only did Collins beat her, she cracked 50%, which meant there didn't have to be a runoff, and they didn't have to go to the ranked choice voting. So Graham Plattner is, first of all, he is a caricature of what Democrats and the left think will appeal to Trump voters.
Yep.
Tim Walz, James Tallarico, they are caricatures of what they think Trump voters are, and they think they put somebody up there who's got some gruff whiskers and can speak all rural and shit. They think that he's going to be able to win folks over, and they don't understand how they're pushing people off. Like I said, the Democrats have absolutely no room to talk about morality anymore. Not after nominating. And do I want Paxton to win? Yes, but you almost could get the Democrats trying to find anybody they could to run against Paxton. But Susan Collins is maybe the most milquetoast moderate person in the Senate. She's constantly a thorn in the side of Donald Trump. She voted to convict him for the impeachment over January 6th. She votes with the Republicans about 65-ish% of the time. She is not a rabid conservative that some of the others are, but they put a Nazi up against her. And I mean, the dude was an actual Nazi. And with Bernie Sanders endorsing him, I guess the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is in force again.
No shit.
And it's amazing how Bernie Sanders said, well, nobody here is a saint. You know what? Nobody I know has a Nazi tattoo.
Yeah, not even me.
Yeah.
Ha ha. I just have it in my blood from my grandfather. But kidding, folks, I'm not a Nazi. My grandfather was. And he was in Germany and he fought in the war, so it was legit. I'm just astonished because I can't get anybody, if I engage anybody on the left over this, and I just bring up the obvious, and it's a Aristotelian thing where I ask the question, if circumstances were reversed, it's not but how about that? It's a legitimate question. Reverse the situation. It's a good way to analyze things. If this was a Republican, let me tell you what would happen. He would not get the endorsement of any major Republican at all. There wouldn't be any Republican in the Senate or Congress or the president or anywhere that would endorse him. I would go, what the fuck? No way do I want this guy associated with me in any way.
We primaried Steve King because he made racist remarks.
Yeah. That's all in his past, they say. He's been in therapy, they say. This wasn't that long ago that he was doing it. He was on these apps telling teenage girls to send him nude photos just recently. And his wife, browbeaten, and I think maybe
there's some kind of domestic thing going on.
I won't say the words, but you guys know where I'm going with that. I've seen her interviews, and she is so. I don't know a single strong woman that would, This isn't Stand By Your Man, Tammy Wynette type stuff. This guy is a brute. How about his comment? If any man ever broke into this house, I'd rape him, but not in a gay way.
Yeah, well, how about his comment about
and he was serious. He was serious. That wasn't like army guys just joking back and forth. He said it repeatedly to women that he was trying to hit on.
And how about his comment about how rape victims should take responsibility for the part they play?
You disgusting fucks that are supporting. You're disgusting. You're supporting the goddamn devil here. You are. Yeah. This guy's a demon. He's walking around in skin, and he's a demon. He's a horrible. What is this just like mass hypnosis that these people vote for, like the Katie Wilsons? And I mean, at least Katie Wilson hasn't been accused of any of these crimes and misdemeanors that this guy has.
As much as I disagree with her, I was worried when Janet Mills, the governor of Maine, got into the race, because if Janet Mills won the primary, I think she would have skunked Susan Collins.
Probably. I think you're probably right.
But for some reason they couldn't go for Janet frickin' Mills. They went for Graham Plattner, who, I don't know if you know about the other accusations against him. I guess Believe All Women is out the window. If you ever get a chance, research the woman that accused him of sexual assault, and how she was kind of suckered in by the New York Times, who told her that they have other people that they are also going to bring forward, and it was only her. And they point out about her working for the Heritage Foundation. It was a political hit job to discredit her. That's all it was.
Yep. I know, but Believe All Women, right? Unless you're accusing it's beyond the bounds of anything I've ever seen before. I mean, this is like politics fucking 150 years ago in this country. It's insanity to me that I see. And so I'm sorry about the potato quality of the video. It was off the AP website, and it was the only one I could find that I wanted to show his entrance, how ridiculous it was. And everybody, I looked at, of course, YouTube comments don't mean a fucking thing, because I put a couple up there and they disappeared within minutes, because he's got his PR. Yeah, he got his PR people, deleting all the other comments. But there was thousands of, oh yeah, I'm moving back to Maine. This guy's the greatest. We love you. Everybody has a past. Not everybody has a past like his. Okay, I got a past too, but nobody's ever going to tell me that I have a Nazi tattoo, that I'm on, websites with young girls trying to get them to, never in my life. It's I try not to take the moral high ground and all that stuff, but I will in this. And it's fact, he served his country honorably and all this other stuff. You know what? Would you, how about if you were the company commander and this fuck was in your company?
Well, again, there were certain things we were told to look out for. Now, might I have not have seen it because he had been wearing a shirt? Maybe. But as soon, if he was out there and the shirt was off and I saw the Totenkopf, that would be an instant commander's inquiry as to what the fuck was going on.
He would have been chaptered out of the Army, most likely.
Yeah.
Because they were really on the hunt for that there for a few years. I don't know if they're still emphasizing it, but they were really on the hunt for that. And then everybody's like, yeah, Pete's Hegseth's tattoo was worse because what?
You mean the tattoo that you mean the Jerusalem cross that was also on the program cover of Jimmy Carter's funeral?
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got one guy that wants to, and he's complete anti-Semite. He wants to get rid of AIPAC. He
also said that he wants elections to go on for 2 months, and he would lock up billionaires who looked at the TV wrong. Yeah, there's nothing fascist about that, I guess.
Nothing at all. Yeah, but we're the fascists and Nazis, bruh.
Yep.
All right, next video. I don't remember what order I put these in, so it's going to be a surprise for me too.
Okay.
I did number these. I think there's some.
You didn't happen to. I hope I'm not going to undercut you on this one. You didn't happen to bring up the Brandon Gill SPLC video, did you?
I didn't. I thought about it.
Okay.
Maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe.
Yeah, he did. He maneuvered the head of the SPLC into denouncing Graham Plattner.
Oh, did he?
Oh, it was hysterical.
Okay. I have watched some of those videos, and it's great.
Oh, you need to watch it. He that you could see the discomfort and annoyance on this guy's face as he got maneuvered into denouncing and saying people shouldn't vote for Graham Plattner.
I almost felt bad for that guy because he was so out of sorts.
I did not feel bad for him at all.
I said almost.
Yeah.
Because dirtbag knew what was going on. All right. This is another, we're going to shift topics completely here. Here's Here's some stuff that I really enjoyed, and I'm gonna skip the play on this and kind of hop around on this video. It's only
No manslaughter. They saying murder. I thought it was manslaughter too. They saying guilty of murder on Fox right now. They saying guilty of.
Has it not been announced?
Self-defense is not a crime. That's what her sign says. One person with Austin say his name. Justice for Austin.
And then they want us to
I don't know what that flag is.
In my head, I got to sit there and fight it too, right?
It's got a knife on it, so it's probably a pro-murder flag.
Yeah, is she trying to cover up the Justice for Austin sign? I think that's what she's trying to block it from people. I love people who do that. You know your stance and your ideals are weak, and so you try to suppress things that counter it.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
Texas has stand your ground law, penal code, 9.31, 9.32.
If your life is in jeopardy, you moron.
Yeah, stand your ground. Fuck you. How about you leave the tent where you're not supposed to be?
That's people who have a surface level understanding and think it covers everything.
The one of the coaches very, very specifically said these tents are very specific. It's like going into your opposing team's locker room. We wouldn't allow that either. Yeah. We're talking about Carmelo Anthony here, folks. I didn't say anything in the beginning, but I just kind of wanted to play the deal, the verdict. This is almost over.
He had no reason to retreat. You don't have to retreat. Understand your ground. He had a right to be there. He was not the aggressor.
Are these Black Panthers?
Yes.
This whole thing been racist. It was supposed to be a public court. They had a private court, all white jury.
Wasn't an all-white jury, there were Hispanics.
As long as there's accountability and justice served, man, that's just what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we can set a precedent anywhere. If you come up and push me or shove me, that I can just automatically reach for a knife and, you know, murder you. I believe in self-defense, don't get me wrong, proportional. But I just don't think, because this would end up setting a precedent right here, in my opinion.
You know, in some states, speaking of that, I'll let you run with it. Some states, if I specifically here in Washington State, and this was a few years ago, an old lady shot through the door because somebody was trying to break down the door to get in and rob her or whatever they were going to do. She shot through the door and killed the guy, and she ended up being prosecuted and going through a trial for that. Like a 75-year-old grandma. She was exonerated, and then the laws did change a little bit. But that's the kind of bullshit. If somebody's trying to break into your house with that intent, yeah, you know, anyway, go ahead. Talk about this a little bit.
So, Carmelo Anthony was found guilty, and he should have been. First of all, let me just back this up. That anyone is saying this through a racial lens on either side is insane. This was a violent and unstable young man who looked to take offense, and when he was told to leave, decided to bow up and stab somebody in the chest. And then he got all sad because he got held accountable. He got 35 years in prison, which, while I'm glad he was found guilty, I think 35 years is too low. You know me, I'm a very hard, when it comes to something like that, I'm a very harsh punishment guy. I think at a minimum it should have been life in prison.
Sure.
I'm also the kind of guy, regardless of your race, where first-degree murder is a capital offense that is at least considered death penalty. Whether or not you follow through on it or not, I don't know. I'd have to hear more on the specifics, but I tend to default to the death penalty in murder cases. That's just the way I am. Carmelo Anthony went into the wrong team's tent, was told to leave several times. He was not assaulted. His life was not in danger. He simply got PO'd and pulled out a knife and stabbed somebody, and it killed them. This ruined 2 lives. Carmelo Anthony's, because he's going to be in prison for the next, well, he'll probably be in prison for about 20 years and then he'll get parole. But he'll have this murder charge follow him for the rest of his life.
Right.
And then Austin Metcalf is dead. A 17-year-old boy who had his future taken away from him by a violent thug. People trying to see this through a racial... If you picked a side based on race, regardless of which side you picked, then you need to seriously look in the mirror and figure out what's going on. Now, I do need to clear up a misconception. There was a misconception that Carmelo Anthony had a public defender. He did not.
He did not.
He did have a lawyer. He did not have the best lawyer because his family, after using a GoFundMe, instead of using it to raise money for his legal defense, decided to buy a house, which is just insane. That tells me where their focus was.
Like, well, it's BLM type attitude. Yeah. BLM did nothing for anybody other than make some people rich.
Yeah, and I don't think this should have been seen as a racial case. This was a case of murder that you judge on the individual merits. And all the evidence showed that Carmelo Anthony murdered Austin Metcalf. The jury deliberated for 3 hours, which shows that this was not
in a murder case
at all.
In a murder case, that is unheard of.
Yeah, that says they knew what it was from the get-go. I would need to look up the exact racial composition of the jury, but it was not a quote-unquote all-white jury, unless you say that Hispanics and Asians are also white. I need to get the exact composition. I can only go by what I initially read in the headline, that there were Asians and Hispanics on the jury. But yeah, I could be wrong, but based on what I've read, that wasn't it. It was just the folks who were excluded from the jury who were African American. They were teachers who had a history of siding with their students, and they were struck because it was believed that they would side with Carmelo Anthony based on him being a student at schools they taught.
Right.
So that's why they were excluded. And you're given a certain number of automatic strikes as a lawyer, and that's what happened. Now, like I said, 3 hours. 3 hours means they went in there, they took a vote, they talked about it for a few minutes, and basically went through some paperwork.
Yeah.
This was never in doubt. The woman there talked about stand your ground. Stand your ground only applies if you believe your life is in jeopardy. It does not apply if someone just happens to touch you, or if they're yelling at you. That's not what stand your ground is. Stand your ground is someone is threatening me with force, and even if I have an avenue of escape, I am not obliged or obligated to escape. I can stand my ground if my life is in danger. Carmelo Anthony's life was never in danger. He decided to take Austin Metcalf's life based on feeling disrespected. And that speaks to a broader societal problem about how children are brought up without any respect for life, and them looking to take offense and assert themselves in a dominant kind of manner, which is just not in accordance with the way society should be run.
100%. Yeah, you took I think most of the talking points that I was thinking about. The one thing that I threw up on our Facebook page was Matt Walsh's take, in that the family actually dragged this out to go to trial, so that the GoFundMe even had more money dumped into it because he was going to trial.
Yeah.
That he could have pleaded the case out and got a much lesser sentence than he did. Probably. I mean, it happens. I mean, the American justice system is all based on compromise and pleas, not trials. Trials aren't.
Look, let me be frank. I do have problems with that, because they're overcharging is an issue, and the reason prosecutors do it is because they don't have enough resources to take every case to trial. So they're counting on the vast majority of people not going to trial.
If anybody on planet Earth knows about overcharging and exactly what you said, it's the guy talking to you right now. Trust me.
Yeah, and look, if I was in a state legislature or something, you talked about plea deals. Here's what I would do. Here's a law I would like to see enforced. If you go to trial and you're found guilty, prior to or during the sentencing phase, however you want to couch it, the prosecutor has to let the jury know what plea deals they offered prior to trial. I think that would give the jury insight into what the prosecution actually believed about the case.
Yeah, I do too.
That's just a side note. Anthony probably should have, given the 3-hour nature of deliberations, the case was such a slam dunk. Anthony should have pled out prior to this.
Yeah.
Because he ended up getting a harsher sentence. Not as harsh as I think he should have gotten, but he ended up getting a harsher sentence than he would have gotten with a plea deal.
Yeah, I think it's his age that probably got him the not life in prison thing, and his
is horse shit.
And I don't believe he had any priors. I don't believe he did. I'm not sure. So that
I don't know, but look, I am. First of all, murder is a real big deal.
It's kind of a big deal.
The West is the only societies that treat 17-year-olds as if they're not adults. We talk about children being killed in Gaza. You and I have been deployed. These so-called kids are not kids. They're learning this stuff young. They're picking up weapons and stuff at the age of 11, 12, 13. I remember thinking when I was a kid, they don't think I know what I'm doing. These kids know exactly what they're doing. By the time you're 14, you know what you're doing. And I think you should be charged as an adult, mostly from about the age of 14 on, for a lot of stuff. There should be some delineation for people being stupid. The kid that wants to run into a Quickie Mart or something and steal some candy bars. Let's not throw him in jail. I get that, but armed robbery, murder, rape, violent assault, carjacking, those are adult crimes, and you should do adult time for them.
100%. It's kind of funny when you were saying that. I was thinking about my childhood and how I literally learned how to drive when I was like 8 or 9 years old, because I grew up on a farm. Start with the tractor and then the farm truck, and then you go from there. I did a man's work in my 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, and I was treated accordingly. Got my ass chewed. Remember haying for a family. Strong, big kid for my age. And at the end of the day, everybody hosed the hay off, and you went in. You sat out on the porch with the men. And I remember the elder passing out Rhinelander beer. I got to drink beer when I was 14, 15 years old with the men because I did a man's job, and all that. So yeah, different cultures are a little bit different, but in my culture and where I live, you were I was driving around way before I had a license.
We've also only had the luxury of treating younger teenagers as kids for about the last, I'm not even sure if you could say 100 years, because we had folks that were lying about their age to sign up for World War II.
Right. Can you imagine that now?
Yeah, 12-year-olds were fighting in the Civil War. You were married by the time you were 16 or 17, 150 to 200 years ago. So the 18-year-old arbitrary cutoff has only been within the last 100 to 150 years.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. We'll move on. We got a few more to hit, and I know we got a little bit more time with you here. Let's see. Oh, I'm going to show you what an actual demonstration looks like when it's well intended by well-mannered.
Once it's not the nutjob leftists taking over the street, it's our turn tonight. Hundreds of neighbors are marching, as you can see behind me. This is really an unprecedented showing by this community that's so angry at the lack of enforcement of the law, allowing the pimps, the gangbangers, the prostitutes, the drug dealers to take over these streets. They're also sounding off on Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson, who actually didn't show up. Multiple elected officials did show, but Katie Wilson still is a no-show. They're saying she's scared and she has no solutions. That's why she's bailed.
Do your job. Why are you not here? Where are you, having your Starbucks latte?
Bullet missing 6-month-old babies inside his crib. That's crazy, man. This is turning into a third world country.
Come help the people who want it changed.
Because there's young girls out here, 12, 13, 14-year-old girls that are being exploited and bought and sold. That's why this march is so important. The sex trade is fueling the gunfire.
Are you disappointed Mayor Wilson is not here right now?
I didn't expect her to be here, dude.
Why?
She hasn't been to anything yet.
You would think that this would be a priority when there's lives that are going to be lost as a result of these pimp wars. It's dangerous, and she should make this a priority.
Not a priority, so she didn't show up.
Why do you think this isn't a priority for her?
It probably has something to do with a basic misunderstanding of what compassion and justice needs to happen. And we got to have justice, we got to have compassion mixed together. We've got to prosecute crimes. We have to clean up the street, and that's only going to happen if people show up and stop throwing around compassion and without any consequences.
Where is she? And if she won't do her job, the citizens are going to do it for her. I'm so glad the citizens came together, blocked the streets, and it's going to keep happening. She needs to get on it. I need action, no more talk, no more fluff.
Yeah.
Do something.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
My mouse failed me there for a second. Yeah, I thought that was kind of a powerful video. Of some folks we were just talking about Aurora Avenue.
First time I've seen that. That got no coverage outside of there.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I got that off of Jonathan Cho's YouTube. Jonathan Cho's a warrior. He's great. And
you noticed they weren't smashing windows and burning
stuff? It was weird.
Stuff?
They weren't like laying in traffic. They were actually using like the parking lane and the bike lane to walk.
They weren't beating on cars.
No, they weren't lighting anything on fire or like going after the cops, and the cops were respectfully just keeping their distance and making sure everybody was safe. The cops, they weren't in riot gear. They were, weird, huh? And Katie Wilson, weird she didn't show up, although, she likes her photo opportunities with putting up signs in parks saying ICE is not welcome here. You will be arrested immediately. Like you can arrest a federal agent for doing their job, you dumb. And then what was I think I put the photo up on the Facebook page, but it was her with a group, like soccer group, or some kind of youth group and whatever. And there wasn't a single white kid there was like 30 kids, and their jerseys, it said, no kidding, Somalia something or something. They were sponsored by one of the Somalian, whatever nonprofits in Seattle. And she was fine being tied. Just, thank you guys up there in King County for voting her in. You get what you deserve. You get what you deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. You get no sympathy from me.
I thought it was ironic that one young lady said, what are you doing? Drinking your Starbucks latte? No, probably not, because
after she drove Starbucks out of Seattle.
So that was telling. That's what people who have a moral center, and I would bet most of those people have a conservative leaning. I would wager do for a demonstration instead of the professional fucking hooligans that are on the left, and they're professional. They get paid for this, folks. And you see pallets of neatly stacked bricks. They didn't. That's not organic. I'm just saying it's not organic.
No.
This was organic. These were people that live in the neighborhood. And Katie Wilson could have done a lot of goodwill by being there. She could have, but I'm sure she was off chasing some, the homeless deserve to live wherever they want kind of fucking thing. God, I don't know, man. I live in this perpetual state of cognitive dissonance now. I honestly believe that we went into a weird parallel universe at some point when CERN fired up.
In 2012, I think CERN created a black hole that sucked us into an alternate universe.
I really do. Because I don't recognize much, man. I don't. Anyway, let's finish this out with a couple more videos. We can go through this kind of quick, I think. Here you go. Here's a good one.
Shit is getting real serious in Europe right now. Things are actually really starting to pop off over there. The people are tired.
It's a beheading, is what it was. So don't let the media tell you it was a stabbing incident or blah, blah, blah. It was an attempted beheading. Civil war is coming. And now is the time to actually... It's coming now. It's coming for a long time. The left are very fucking quiet. The liberal lunatic left are very quiet today online, and rightfully so, because even they, surely to fuck, even they are waking up now and saying, what the fuck, okay, this is getting beyond a joke. Because they're trying to fucking gaslight you the whole time. Stop sucking the government's cock, liberal left. Dickheads.
We are the Irish Citizen Army, also known as the ICA. We created the rebirth of the ICA of 1913. We are all citizens, fathers, mothers, sons, and daughters, driven to finally take action on the intolerable corruption which is forced on us by the Irish and British governments. We also believe that the British government has no right in Ireland, has never had any right in Ireland, and never can have any right in Ireland. We represent.
They pissed Paddy off. Paddy's pit.
First of all, the Irish, this has been pushing to a boiling point for a long time.
Absolutely.
And this Somalian who attempted this beheading, I don't know if you know this. Sorry, I hear my dogs barking. The Somalian who attempted this beheading, he was a neighbor of the dude he tried to behead, who had helped him just a few days earlier. This is bringing.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, I read that this afternoon. This is them trying to bring that kind of barbaric culture from Somalia into Europe and the West. The Irish, a lot of them have had enough. It's telling that a lot of the Labour MPs, from Keir Starmer on down, their instinct wasn't to condemn the attempted beheading. It was to say that the right doesn't need to use this as a political tool and let's not be hateful. I'm sorry, at this point, vigilantism might be warranted because if the government's not going to protect people, then the government's no longer legitimate. It's given up its rights to govern. I mean, that was part of what the American Revolution was about. If it won't protect its citizens, it has given up its rights to govern, and the citizens will protect themselves, and they'll have the moral high ground to do it. Now, how bad does this get? I don't know. I can only imagine what would happen if there was an election in Britain today and Reform took over and Nigel Farage became prime minister. But Keir Starmer's under no obligation to hold an election for another 3 years, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And by then it'll get really bad. I mean, Reform already swept through a lot of the local council seats.
Yeah.
And it's going to get even more. This is in Northern Ireland, which was pacified from the Troubles not too long ago. Just a couple decades. And that was the Catholics versus the Protestants. Imagine what happens if the Catholics and Protestants team up. Because they're tired of all this stuff going on. They know how to be violent, and they will bring violence on a scale that Ireland hasn't seen in 100 years.
100%. And these are, that, like you said, it was Protestants and Catholics. The IRA did not have any problem with terrorism. They didn't have any problem with it. And I like you said, the rise of vigilantism, you've seen it. You're gonna see it more and more. There's a video that I put up on Two Grumpy Bastards Facebook page where there's a black guy holding up traffic and yelling and stuff like that, and a Paddy just goes up right behind him, just cocks him, just cold cocks him.
A couple other folks went over there and kicked people in the head. This is going to get bad. It's
going to get bad. Like that. It's going to get bad.
People have been given free reign for far too long because the government has sanctioned it, and if the citizenry has enough, it's like, okay, government, come and force it on me because I'll take care of it.
There's a video. I'm going to try to find it again. I did not put it up, but there's a video of a fellow in Germany, and he's walking through a park in I don't know what city. I won't make it up, but he's walking through a beautiful park, and on either side of the pathway, he's filming it. Just hordes of immigrants, people of color.
I've seen the video. I know what you're talking.
Yeah, and people keep coming up to him and trying to harass him, and he's like, "I can video in my hometown if I want. This is my country. It's not your country." And I was like, "Ooh, that guy's." I had fear for his safety, but it was just he was showing what it's like now. There wasn't a single spot where there wasn't some type of immigrant person of color squatting, sitting there doing drugs, doing stuff like that. It was crazy.
Well, it's because they've imported these people from cultures who don't share the same cultural values.
100%.
And it's not about immigrants per se. Those who want to assimilate and want to add to culture, that's fine. But they want to bring culture here and create a degree of separativeness, and also make theirs the dominant culture. But that's not why they came here. They left the shitholes for a reason. They don't need to turn other places into shitholes. And what's probably keeping this thing from really popping off? I've criticized for a while, the gun control thing, and Europe having gun control is what's kept its, maybe some of their citizens will wake up now, because I guarantee you if they had a Second Amendment the way we do, things would have gotten even more involved.
Yeah, for some reason, the American right has always, for many, many decades now, has just been like, live and let live. We just want to be left alone, even though we've got all the guns and ex-military, blah, 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 blah. It would be bloody and fairly quick, I think, if we rose up as one. And I'm not advocating that as you are, as you do not either. But it would be horrible for the left if that ever happened. If they woke that.
It'd be horrible for the country as a whole, because any kind of thing that happens on that scale in this country is going to have no rules of engagement.
100%. All right, we got one more video, then a couple of funny ones, and we'll let you go have your evening, my friend.
Thanks.
Are you good for
probably a few more minutes? I can smell it though.
Yeah. All right, here we go. This is more of a local thing, but this is actually just so ridiculous. I had to play this. Here's my gal Brandy Cruz.
Okay.
So on Friday, we shared an image that was sent to us showing a Pride Month display at Graham Kapowsin High School in the Beth.
That Graham Kapowsin is halfway in between the two towns I grew up in. So it's southeast of Tacoma and Puyallup by a bit. So it's country.
Bethel, Washington School District. And a lot of the Pride displays like normal, normal, normal. And then there's a jar of testosterone vials. It was so funny because we post this, and of course the radical left is like, that's not real, that's made up, that's AI, you're a liar, Brandy sucks, blah, blah, blah. And then when we showed indisputable proof that it was indeed true, I mean, we do our due diligence on these sorts of things, then they totally changed into, oh, well, it's real, but it's fine, it's not a big deal. And then, oh, it's you're a bigot for reporting on it. It's like, you just have to make excuses. But anyway, I mean, this is insane.
Yes, it is. Look,
why are they putting up vials of testosterone there?
I've got a vial right here. I'm on TRT. It's prescribed. This is considered a controlled substance.
Controlled substance, yeah.
It's a controlled substance. Yeah. I had to go through a whole bunch of machinations to get it. So isn't that insane? That's a Pride. They put vials of testosterone as an exhibit.
Is that like for a transgender thing?
Yes, that's exactly right. For transitioning. For it. It's not dead. Hey, folks, those of you that woke is dead, wake up. Not even close.
I will say that
it's a hydra. It's a hydra. Chop off one head, another one's in its place.
It's been a lot more muted this year.
It has.
In the past, but it's still out there.
It is. And that's can you imagine any of that thought at that school going, hey, let's do that? Whose idea was that? How did that pass scrutiny?
They're also counting on people not noticing and fighting back. And that's one of the reasons things have been so muted, is because people have finally said, hey, enough of this shit. And they're actually calling folks out. Yep. So, yeah, I don't know. Somebody is thinking they can get away with it. But it takes people actually speaking up and to stop it.
Brandy Cruz has no fear. I admire her. She's great. All right. We're going to leave off with a couple of humorous, just quick clips here, bud. And then we'll call it a day.
Sounds good.
Call it a pod. We'll call it a pod. Let's see. Just real quick. And then I got one more after this. These are real quick.
I got into an argument with an American, and the American won the argument because he had a zinger I had no comeback for. He said, "You Brits, you're just sore about what happened in 1776. And I said, the invention of the spinning jenny? Oh, I'm so mad about that. It's too spinny. Of course, he was actually referring, as I'm sure you're aware, to the American Revolutionary kerfuffle. And what I will say is, if there are any Americans watching, the thing you have to understand about Britain is we've got a lot of ex-colonies. We've got a lot of ex-colonies, and we know zero information about all of them.
You guys,
we were the first ex-colony.
That's right. That's right. And we won it fair and square.
Yep.
Well, with the French's help, but that's all right. We don't necessarily.
Well, that led to the second rule of French warfare, which is France's armies are only victorious when Americans do most of the fighting.
Exactly. That's been proven several times. All right. One last funny here. These guys crack me up because there's always this is a daytime talk show in Australia, and I've seen a bunch of clips of these two. This is great. You'll have to, I think it's Australia. Anyway, here we go. Oh, come on, play. I tested you. Okay. Well, that ends our, I did not
coming up. That sucks.
I tested all of these too, which is really disappointing that it's actually really funny. I'll save it for the next one. I'll run it through my software and get it fixed. So anyway,
Okay, no worries.
Well, I guess that about does it. And I think we came in just in time on your deadline.
I agree.
So that does it for us for our podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed that. This might encourage you guys to actually go to YouTube and see how bleached out my camera makes me, even whiter than I actually am.
Yeah, that's not sunlight off his face, folks. That's his natural pale shine.
It's my angel glow. It's St. Michael's blessing is what it is.
That's the opposite of soul glow. Coming to America.
All right. Yeah, I think it's kind of fun to do this periodically. Just throw some videos up and make a few comments and all that. Anyway, thanks for hopping on, Russ. Thank you guys for listening. This is the Two Grumpy Bastards. This is Koop in the Pacific Northwest. That's Russ over there in the wilds of Tennessee, and we are saying keep your focus and
stay wokeless.
Stop.
Well, hey, everybody. This is Koop, the handsome and debonair one of the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast. Not to mention I'm the only one that's an actual bastard. Google that shit. Don't, actually. Hey, I'm here to do a shameless plug for our merchandise. You can find us at twogrumpybastardsmerchandise.com. We got a whole bunch of new merchandise in. I think you'll like some of the new choices. There's some pro-Second Amendment. There's some anti-Washington State Governor stuff on there. I think you'll really appreciate it. New stuff coming all the time. I have 2 great designs in the works, so please, to support this podcast, that's one of the easiest ways to do it. We're also on Etsy. Yeah, I know, Etsy. You can find our products on eBay as well. Storm King Mercantile is the name of the store there that fronts us. And there's many, many other ways to support this podcast, of course. We have a Patreon page, same thing, Two Grumpy Bastards. We certainly would appreciate you following us on Instagram. Most of you probably know we have a Facebook page, Two Grumpy Bastards Podcast. We have a lot of fun over there, a lot of frivolity, a lot of memes, and a lot of hard-hitting news. Believe it or not, a lot of great people in that group. Also, all of the social media outlets, including now on TikTok. You can find us there. And one of the things that I really wanted to tell you is if you have any feedback for Russ, especially because he kind of sucks, feel free to email us at twogrumpybastards@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get a hold of us, or you can always leave us a comment or an IM on, or DM, I should say. See, I'm so savvy. I'm so savvy. On our Facebook page. So we really appreciate you listening or watching us over there on YouTube as well. And we hope you do both, because Russ is something to look at. I said something. I didn't say something really great to look at. Anyway, thanks for listening. This is your intrepid, amazing, and grateful host of the Two Grumpy Bastards podcast, Koop. Remember, keep your focus and stay wokeless.